couple minutes. But I'm super excited to have Matty on today on Behind the Art. I feel like we're going to have just such an awesome conversation. And I know that the audience is going to have a lot of questions for you too. So I'm excited for all of that back and forth tonight.
Awesome. Happy to be here.
We're just going to let everyone come in for a moment. So, um, you know, the deal when you're here, just pop in the chat so we know you're here. Awesome. Hey, Samsonite. Thanks for coming in tonight. And also, while we were waiting, I saw Krager Ball and Open Minded 792.
That's
Um,
me.
oh, sweet. Subscribe. So thank you. And thanks, Krager Ball, also.
Are these emojis different in Twitch?
They are. They're a bit weird. They look um, they look a little
Trying to look for the
scary
way.
sometimes. I
Just
know.
people's head.
This
What's going
I
on?
accidentally. This was not even intentional, but I was wearing my Crypto Voxel shirt today, and we're probably going to talk a lot about Decentraland today. So we'll have both of the worlds represented tonight, which will be fun.
Awesome.
Oh, so you're open minded 792.
I am, yeah.
Okay, sweet.
I don't know why it's logged in as that.
Oh no, that's fine. Just so I know, so I'm not reading your comments to you.
I could ask questions to myself.
Yeah, exactly. Samsonite, what time zone are you on? You show out a lot. I appreciate it. How you wear your yeah, no, this is fun. We're gonna be talking a lot about, I hope, a lot about both worlds because I think there's so many things. We'll get into this a little bit further, but I think there's so many crossovers that can happen that are starting to happen a little bit, and I'm really excited about that. So yeah, we're representing both of us. Hey DCL Interact, nice to see you. All right, awesome. We'll see if I don't know if any of you guys are also watching from Decentraland, but I know they're having a watching party. So if you want to watch on both screens, feel free, or if you want to just stay in the stream so you can ask questions live, go for it as well. But to start this off, I am going to give a huge shout out to Toonpunk and the other folks at Decentraland that helped build an amazing gallery. For my work, and it's stunning and it's so cool, and it's streaming there tonight, and I think that we're also going to have my other Twitch stream streaming there, so I really appreciate it, and that'll be fun to just get into DCL and see everything going on. But without further ado, we'll get started. Matty, I'm super excited to have you on the show. I first came across you and your work from YouTube quite a while back, and I thought it was just cool and interesting to see someone in the NFT space creating awesome content. I don't trade NFTs at all myself, but I found myself watching your videos just because they were like easy and fun to watch. You're super friendly and well spoken, and it was a cool thing to see online since you really don't see many NFT people online. So that's kind of where I first came across your work, and then since then we've crossed paths a lot and even worked on some things together, which has been really awesome. But if you want to just get started with, I'd love to know how you even got interested in trading NFTs and how you found out about them.
Yeah, so I come from cryptocurrency background in the sense that in 2017 is when I kind of started investing in like coins and things, which I think how everyone kind of got started in the space, right? You just threw money at Bitcoin or Ethereum, and it was just interesting to see the swings. But anyway, 2017, earlier that year, I had been waiting on Bitcoin and watching it go from 1,000 to 2,000, and then I think it hit the $3,000 mark. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna jump in and buy some. And then 2017 was obviously a very crazy, bull run, fluctuating year for everyone. And then 2018 hit, and January my portfolio started to come crashing down a little bit. Luckily, I was fine because I invested in early 2017, so it was good to kind of experience the highs and lows. But it prompted me to look a little bit deeper into this thing. Is there more to just throwing money at these coins? And at that point, I didn't really understand the tech. I like buying and selling things. I like investing. I like flipping things. I look at the tech at a surface level, but for me, investing was just putting your money at something and then kind of checking back on it for after 5 months or 6 months
Yeah.
or something like that. Yeah. So 2018, portfolio came crashing down. January, Feb is when I was looking for things to diversify, and really weird. I went to the second page of CoinMarketCap, and I liked the Decentraland logo. It looked like a game, and I was like, oh, what's this cool little game type thing? And then I joined the Discord, and there was like hundreds of people trying to buy and sell these digital lands. And it was really intriguing because back then there was no marketplace UI set up, so you couldn't actually list your land for sale. The only way to sell your land was to find a buyer in Discord and then manually transfer that land to someone. Actually, the buyer would transfer the money first, the mana, and then trust the seller enough for him to send, the land back. It was very manual, very risky, and that's, we can expand on that later. But
when was
that
that?
was
When did DCL launch?
so DCL.
Or
Honestly, I missed the ICO. Yeah, I missed the ICO. I missed the auction. I kind of joined basically as soon as it finished, and I think it finished in late December.
Okay.
So I joined in just Jan, maybe the mid-Jan or something, and as soon as I joined, people had just come off the auction, and the lands that they had bought for 1,000 mana, they were trying to flip it real quick for 3,000 to 4,000 mana. And for me, it was just fascinating. I was like, whoa, this digital land thing, I can buy that. I've already got this high risk cryptocurrency portfolio, so why not just throw in digital land, right? Yeah, that was my entry into the space.
That's awesome. That's funny that you say that, because it just brought up a memory that I had that I totally forgot this even happened. But before I even got into NFTs, there was a guy that I was working with at the time on a conference, actually, and he was like raving to me about Decentraland, and I was like, I just don't get it. Like, and he was telling me he had previously come from an acting background, and he was telling me how he was going to have like build a theater in Decentraland to have this place that like all these comedians and actors could come to, and I just thought it like sounded cool but also kind of crazy. And now it's so funny. That memory got brought up as you were talking about it. Just kind of like the early days of Decentraland. But
it's really weird how big, like, because I actually had never heard of Decentraland at all until I joined that logo. And to think that, it sold out its ICO and there's so many people in the Discord, I was like, no, I must have been missing some form of communicating channel or something to miss.
Yeah. Well, I feel like that same with me. Like once I really, CryptoVoxels was kind of my entryway into the NFT space, or at least like sold me on it. And once that door was opened, I kind of like couldn't stop opening all the doors inside of it. You know what I mean? Then it just blew up, and it was like all I could think about, all I could talk about, telling all my friends about it. So I'm sure you had a similar experience, especially when you were probably trading land successfully. You're like, okay, like this, I'm onto something here. In the early days, obviously, you probably didn't see as much as really. I guess my question is, what exactly, besides just like the flipping of the land, or maybe that was purely it, what interested you about Decentraland? And initially it was the investment that you could make on the land flipping, but then was there something that really kind of like snagged you and made you interested in Decentraland beyond just an investment?
Yeah, so I remember watching the trailer for Decentraland on the first page back then, and it was kind of like this like 1.5 minute video of someone creating something in the world and going in and meeting people and stuff. And this stuff is probably done before in Second Life and everything. But for me, this being in crypto and opening up a door to invest kind of was like, wow, I can buy this land and make something on it. So I actually didn't buy my first land with the intention to flip or anything like that. I actually bought it to invest, and hopefully when the thing launches, build something on it. But the way I bought my land was really interesting, and this is, I guess, opened up the whole kind of opportunity in NFT space for me. Was the buying process was a lot of negotiating, and I like negotiating. I like buying and selling things, right? And so I found people that were willing to sell, and then they were trying to sell it for 7,000 mana. I haggled them down to something like 3,500 for 3 pieces, so 10,000 or something. So 10,000 all up and 3 pieces or something like that. So I was like, oh wow, I can actually negotiate the price here, and then when a seller comes along, I can negotiate the price with them too, and there's a middle ground there that I can make a profit in between. So that realization came maybe the next day or the third day when people came in to buy land, and I had land that I had just bought for 3,000 mana or something. So I was like, yeah, I got some land. Do you want it for 6,000? Quick flip. And they were like, yeah, we'll take it. And some of them I sold for 10,000. And then I was like, whoa, wait a second. Like, this is not just a 10%,
Yeah.
10% flip opportunity. This is like, without putting more fiat into this portfolio of my cryptocurrency portfolio, I can actually flip land to increase this portfolio with the mana that I make. I can buy Ethereum, I can buy Bitcoin, and this portfolio can grow itself without me putting more fiat, which was the only way I knew how to grow my portfolio, right? To put more fiat in. So it was high risk, but for me, there was so much volume and so much interest in people buying and selling land that it was an easy thing for me to do because I was buying it so low and no one knew what the prices of these lands were. So, there was so much opportunity to buy it low, and people were buying it for 1,000 mana from the auction. So they were happy to just
Right.
flip it for 2,500 mana, right?
Right.
Um,
And what made you want to start putting these videos on YouTube? Did you previously ever do YouTube before this?
Yeah, so I come from a marketing background.
Okay.
I've done digital Facebook ads and e-commerce and Shopify. It's been my jam for like 6 years before cryptocurrency. And I used to have a YouTube channel. Don't check it out. It's called afengineer.com. It's still live. I haven't updated it for like a year or two,
Okay.
but it had 6,000 followers, and I was pretty active. I had like a lot of tutorials on how to make drop shipping stores and sell stuff on Facebook. I was pretty good at it back then when Facebook was new, when e-com and Facebook was kind of starting to be figured out, which was like 6, 7 years ago. There was so much opportunity back then. So I had a lot of YouTubing. Like when I find something I like, I just like to blog about it and make YouTube videos. And especially when you start to make money, I kind of feel like that draws in more people and more news and more interest because it's an opportunity, and the crypto space is all about that. Previous to the NFT space, I'm assuming predominantly the crowd in the cryptocurrency space was because they wanted to get rich or make
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
But, that's the reality of the situation. So I think a lot of that movement came to the NFT, and we're slowly transitioning out of that, which
Yeah, which is an interesting time. We're at a really interesting time right now.
Mhm.
Samsonite said, "Yeah, thank you for being so generous with the YouTube videos. He learned a lot about DCL and trading land from you,
Nice.
which is
You're
awesome."
welcome. You're welcome.
I wasn't interested in trading land at all, and I just enjoyed watching the videos. So, um, oh yeah, DCL Interact. So many people show up on Discord. So I saw Matty's YouTube videos and dot dot dot. That's really funny. So how when you were like flipping land, what are you full time trading NFTs now, or do you still do something else during the day and then trade NFTs on the
Um,
side?
I've been working for myself for a long time, for like 5 to 6 years. I had, like I said, the e-commerce stuff going on and all that. And at the moment, I still have a few e-commerce side businesses, which used to be my full-time focus, but now there's just so much opportunity here that I'm not so much flipping land. I've flipped enough land to hold a pretty decent amount of mana and Ethereum and a few different coins. So that's why I've kind of transitioned into growing the space and providing value to the space because, financially it's a better thing to do, and it doesn't make sense. I think flipping land, I later realized, especially when you get to larger lands that you're flipping, you're actually devaluing the platform if you're not providing the lands in the hands of someone that can build good things. So
Yeah, that's a great
like
point.
my stake is big enough now that the value is more where if I were to network and bring people and use my lands to build things and showcase, and whoever wants to build, my land is open to it, and actually do something more than just buying and selling land. And I'm trying to avoid bringing that crowd in as well, because I think we're realizing like community building and cross networking with other people that are building cool things and integrating them with crypto voxels or integrating their stuff with Decentraland, and that opens and makes a bigger community. That's more important than people coming in to make money.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. And not only that, I mean, once the community grows and actual businesses are functioning and games functioning in worlds like this, it obviously makes the land more valuable. So it's better for everyone. People sitting on the land, people actually running the businesses. I feel like when I participated in a Decentraland contest. I don't remember exactly what it was called, but where they were like trying out the new builder and people could like build their own parcel or
mm-hmm.
build the
The
land.
drag and drop one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I won a
Yeah,
piece of land through it, which was really awesome, and I was excited about that.
yeah.
But that's kind of the first time that at least I personally saw Decentraland like start to really like try to bring people into the space, into Decentraland, and build it up. And then I started really digging into the discords, and at that time I was like looking through all the different districts, and seeing kind of what the plans were, which obviously, like at this point, a lot of things have changed. Some things probably have been built, some things probably haven't. um, I don't know enough, and I would love to learn more about what are, like, and I don't know if you can speak on everyone's behalf, but just what you've seen. Um, what are Decentraland's plans for these different, like, larger district areas, and if they're, and I don't know if it's completely up to district owners or if Decentraland has a say in it. And what is sort of the plan to kind of get the community bigger and better and have, events kind of on a larger scale. And I know obviously there's always going to be technical things that have to grow with it. But right now, which a lot of, obviously, CryptoVoxel struggles with it as well. But I feel like events are relatively limited, especially like if you're in a different realm and you can't see everyone else. There are a lot of limitations. So I just wonder, like, what do you know about? What do you think is going to be happening, with districts or with other people's land, or with DCL really promoting things like that? Sorry, that was a long-winded comment, but I was trying to get back there.
Right. Yeah, I kind of get the question. So I think on a macro level, if you look at the NFT space as a whole, you kind of see this bottleneck that everyone's facing, that it's kind of the same people moving through the same projects. And there's a pre-sale here and a pre-sale there, and you join that Discord and you see the same faces, and you're like, well, is anyone new coming into this space? And our meetups and maybe CryptoVoxel's meetups, I don't know if you guys are kind of getting better numbers each time, but we're kind of capped at about 100 to 150 each time, which is not too bad. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
And I think the rate of growth is pretty decent. But if you want to really get big with the NFT space, I can talk on behalf of Decentraland what we have planned. In terms of the districts, the districts were put together by people that had proposals 3 years ago. Some of them have the same plans to kind of build the same things out. Some of them have kind of abandoned the district, and it's hard to kind of get them back in. So it's going to be up to Decentraland to how to get content there and how to solve these issues. Some really big districts are still really, really involved, like Vegas and Etheria. We haven't heard much of, but I know there's been a lot of development there. Dragon City, which is the Chinese district, they're going to be deploying a Chinese kind of themed build, and they're going to be hosting meetups, which is going to be really cool. We can kind of join in and see what they're up to. They can kind of, maybe we can make some infrastructure and buildings with the Chinese and Western themes mixed and have more collaborative art movements. It's kind of interesting to think about. And we're starting to see some districts form, but some districts have been empty, and there is a question mark on how they're going to form. So it's kind of like
the
a
land
discovery.
ownership with like a couple people within the districts, or is it, how does the land ownership work? Like if
I
someone
think,
wants to build it out, but they're not in charge of the
I,
district.
right. I think there's a landowner who owns the keys to the whole estate, but can't transfer it out. Like it's locked or something. So the only thing they can do, I think, is give build permissions to certain people. If, like, their community members, if they want to deploy something on their land, they can do that.
Sure.
I think that's how it is. I'm not a district lead, but I remember I was deploying something on one of the districts, and they just gave me permissions, and I could deploy my stuff on their district. So I was like, oh, okay, that's how it works. But yeah, so that's the districts. It's a bit of a question mark, and we're kind of figuring out how to go about with it. But in terms of what Decentraland have planned to get like a broader community into Decentraland and how to grow the space beyond the 100 people that it is at the moment, we have the good thing about Decentraland is that it raised a lot of funds during the ICO. Very, very lucky, because at the time of their launch, that was like the hype phase. It also had a great idea, so it raised like 20 million or whatever it raised, and they've kind of have a lot of funds to play with. So every year they have about 22 million mana worth of grants that they're going to allocate for the next 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And if you work that out, 22 million mana currently is about 800,000 USD, hopefully $1 million plus per year in grants that they can give to people that propose things. So if someone wants to build like some sort of news station, someone wants to build some sort of gallery or whatever it is, the community can vote that in, they can get that funding, and they can make that stuff. So I think when they start to roll out that sort of a system, then we should see a lot more people applying to build businesses or ideas or something of value in Decentraland because they're getting paid for it. And I think we also have a big fund for competitions and things. So the good thing about Decentraland as well is they have a lot of strong marketing channels. The Discords are pretty packed. The Twitter's pretty packed. It's got 46,000 Twitter followers. So when they run these competitions, they go big with these partnerships. We have one with Matty, which we're going to be doing like a game competition. So people are going to be building games and integrating Matty and stuff like that. So I think these competitions, and once they roll out the funding on behalf of the DAO, we should start seeing a lot more people external to start to see this space as an opportunity and build something which they might make money from or be part of this community. And hopefully that opens the doors to them being involved in Decentraland and ripple out to other NFTs.
How does the voting system work, or do you not? Like you were saying that people could vote on certain things happening, and then the funding could go towards that. How does that work?
So you have to have mana to vote. So mana is like both the governance token and also the, I guess, investment token. The more mana you have, the more weight you have to vote in stuff, basically.
Does land count for anything or no?
That's been the big debate over the last year. It's been like initially when they rolled out this thing, and they were running it on Agora. I think they were running out. We could vote on topics like when should we have the auction, when should we have this and that, and people were voting with their mana. And then we were like, wait a second, we just spent all our mana on land, and some people might not be mana whales, but some of us are land whales. Shouldn't we have the right to vote? I mean, it affects us the most. So that was voted in, and I think each land has a weight of like 2,500 mana or something like that. Can't remember. But once that's integrated as well, so if you have land, you can vote, and that has a weight. But at the end of the day, like this is just a base structure to get this voting mechanism happen, so that we are actually utilizing the DAO. Once it's in place and we're voting, I'm sure we're going to fine tune it, make it a better system mathematically, so that it's more fair for everyone. But I think everyone's realized that that this whole DAO thing, this is the difference between Decentraland and I guess CryptoVoxel's nimbleness to just throw out features and updates on the fly, is that Decentraland, there's so many conversations in behind it all, and because it's all DAO and decentralized, people have a lot of say and discussions, and there's a lot of arguments and stuff of how things should go. So it kind of slows down the process. So I'm personally just like, just roll this stuff out, roll out wearables, roll out DAO. Let's just get this stuff happening, and if it sucks, we'll deal with it and we'll fine tune it along. Let's not wait a year or two until nothing really happens.
I'm with you. I mean, that's honestly how I see a lot of projects able to grow really fast is they release something and maybe part of it is absolute shit and they realize that and it sucks in the moment, but then they fix it. Versus there obviously, unfortunately, have been some projects that were super promising and teams working super, super hard on them because obviously it's a different situation with Decentraland and Decentraland's launch, but because it took so long to launch or took so long to do something, like the hype was lost there.
Yeah.
So I definitely agree with you that it's always like push now, refine later, at least in this sort of circumstance, especially when the items that you're like pushing now are so heavy on like community building and so great for the community to be truly a part of the world. And what I will say, we can talk a little bit about wearables if you don't mind. What I will say is I feel like wearables especially give people, what I've at least seen in CryptoVoxels, they give people a sense of belonging within the space. They give people a sense of identity. And even if I know people that don't own any personal land in CryptoVoxels, but because they have an outfit that they made or they purchased from someone else, like they have an identity in the world and they feel like they're a part of it. So, and a lot of us can immediately recognize, I'm thinking right now of like Trippy Yogi, but if I see a guy walking down the street and I know his outfit, I know what character it is. Like I know that that's Trippy Yogi. You know what I mean? So like it's kind of this really cool identifying feature that that's like I think one of the most things that I really want from DCL and I'm really excited about is community built wearables. That's like a huge thing for me. I guess I wonder what your opinion is on that, because I know like CryptoVoxels also looks crazy sometimes, and I think that's okay. But I know that like it's a totally different look in DCL than it is from CV.
Yeah, yeah. I've been to some CryptoVoxels meetups, and when I go in there, people are wearing some crazy things, and I'm like, this sort of stuff only the community can come up with.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. I think wearables is going to be a big deal, and I think Decentraland need to start to implement more creative items that the community can participate in directly and be a part of, and wearables is that. And I think even with the Pixel board, with I'm not sure if you saw it, but Pixel Chain had some sort of
Yeah.
Pixel board.
That's awesome. Stuff.
Yeah, and I hope there's going to be some sort of, hopefully some voxel builder or something in World. So things that people can actually customize themselves instead of dragging and drop an already made tree or an already made kind of building, right? And I think that sort of creativity is what's going to keep people here. But wearables, yeah, I do think it's a big deal, and I really want them to roll it out. It's good because I think Decentraland have also seen the kind of sense of urgency to keep the community momentum here, because you got to understand, like Decentraland, they had two things they promised. They had the decentralized world and also it being VR,
right,
and web browser based, right? So they're just, I think for the first year or two, they just focused on getting that structure right and the foundation right and getting it all decentralized. But at the end of the day, visually there was nothing to look at.
Mm-hmm.
So people, I don't know how many people actually invested because it was decentralized. I think a lot of people invested because it was a VR world where you could own land and build stuff.
Totally.
Yeah. So that's why over the last 3 to 4 months, you can just see them pushing out and rolling out these new features and trying to push content and stuff like that. So the only bottleneck at the moment is the stability of things. I think maybe CryptoVoxels experiences the same thing. I'm not too sure, but things break, things get stuck.
Video breaks. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's gonna be all of that, I'm sure, for a very long time. And obviously we can only continue to try to get better, but they're both worlds. Like there's, I mean, as much as I saw the little tweet thread earlier with like, how many seconds does this take to load? How many seconds does this take to load? And like, they're both gonna have downtime. Sometimes I'm in CryptoVoxels and like I'm building and my building like disappears and I'm like, wait, what the fuck just happened? But I can like revert it. It's totally fine. But like there's always gonna be something, and it's not really, in my opinion, about like a competition with any of these different VR worlds, like trying to get more people at one event or get it faster. Like as long as all of the worlds are kind of like working and building and making something awesome for the community and like continuing to grow that, then it's all amazing, in my opinion. And that's like what I look for when I look for a place that I want to be a part of the community. So yeah, in the chat.
Yeah, I think for the creators and the builders, it doesn't matter which world it is. They can. It's beneficial for all the worlds doing well because they want to participate in all of them, right? It's obviously for the investors that for some reason might pick one world over the other and might go all in. They're kind of a little bit on the back foot about exposure and kind of a bit more competitive in nature. I kind of see that on Twitter and I understand it.
Yeah.
But
you said something earlier that I wanted to ask about. I should take a little notepad and write things down because I hate to cut people off, but you said something that I was like, oh, I need to ask about that. I'll remember it in a second. But earlier in the chat, I saw that people were talking about, like, let's hear more about the Vegas area. And I saw a really cool build from, I think, Bouse?
Yeah.
Yep, and I'm not sure. I'm sorry, I don't know who is all in that group. But I saw a super awesome build that they did in Vegas. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what is going on in that district and to get some people excited that maybe don't know about what's going on there?
Yeah, so Vegas is kind of led by a few members, and I think James is one, Carl Fravel, and a few others that kind of work to get people together to build in Vegas. By the name, you probably know what kind of a district it's going to be. Decentral Games are actually a game dev studio kind of company that Vegas has partnered up with to build out Vegas district. Boss or Miles, his name's Miles. Miles is a really good dude. Like, he's so awesome to talk to. He's always in it with the community, always helping us out. If we want to host conferences there, he's all open for it. He's actually building out casinos, and he's built about 3 out so far. And the kind of monetization concept they've got there is you can own um, uh, one of the game slots or one of the machines or one of the roulette tables and have a share in the profits. And you can own that as an NFT, and that gives you, ownership of that. But obviously, it's only going to make money if this worlds grow, right?
Right.
Decentraland growing the amount of people. But in terms of the visuals and what Decentral games are making, like they're making probably one of, if not, I wouldn't say the best, one of the top three, aesthetically pleasing builds. Really, there's like 3 or 4 casinos. They've got some, I think they've got some music venues happening, and they're gonna have like, I guess things around entertainment, gambling, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And
And they're in
Decentraland,
an area where they can do that legally.
yeah,
They were
and I
talking
think
about.
this is the plus side of Decentraland, in the sense that it's decentralized and you can kind of experiment with this sort of stuff if you're in a country where it's legal to do that or
Right.
something. I don't know. I don't know the technical and the legalities of it. I just know that Decentraland and the concept of it was popularized so that there's some sort of, people can do whatever they want. But I think as a community, we got to find ways to manage that, because you don't want people to do too many crazy things.
Yeah. And I would love, I mean, it's such a beautiful space. You're right that they did an excellent job building it out, building that place out. And I would love to see just more people get inspired by it. And I know early on I had heard some things about like the physics changing in World, which maybe broke some of the very early games. But hopefully, because the world has grown so much and is people are building actively now more than ever before. um, I hope to see more and more games come because I think that would be just an awesome thing for Decentraland that can bring people in.
Big
And I
time.
would love, like, just thinking about that and thinking about the ecosystem kind of working together. I would love to see pets in Decentraland. And I don't know if you
Me
can
too.
play Axes in Decentraland.
Yeah.
Even Gods Unchained, like actually play cards in there. Like all of these sorts of things, because like we both know a lot of the people within these worlds are crypto people. In order to bring that bridge that gap and bring the community together, would be really amazing. And that's always been something I'm super, super interested in. Not only virtual worlds in the space kind of connecting, Somnium, Decentraland, CryptoVoxels, eventually Sandbox once they launch. Those all kind of having like hubs and portals to each other, but also bringing in the games, bringing in like you guys, the art week that you guys are doing in DCL is amazing. Like seeing the super rare, the
Yeah.
known origin, like those builds are pixel. I don't want to forget anyone mint base. So you have them all in there, Maker's Place, but seeing the builds
DC.
in there that they've been doing are super fantastic. And I don't know if
Mhm.
a lot of the people in the CV community have seen those yet, but definitely check them out if you haven't. But I would love to see more of that for also the games and the other kind of like NFT projects in the space. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I would love that, and I think that's a part of that, or accelerating that space, is these competitions that we will have with Matic. Um, and Matic are really good partners of ours, because, I think Decentraland were part of the early phase of Matic and kind of vibed off the same conversations, and Decentraland were kind of trying to solve the same situation where, if transactions increase too much volume, what would be the solution here? So they kind of partnered up with Matic in that sense, and they're advisors to Matic as well. But with them involved and them pushing this sort of thing, and hopefully the DAO allocating funds to people that say they might want to build a Gods Unchained
Mm-hmm.
tournament arena with a gameplay, or someone might want to build an Axie Infinity kind of realistic gameplay arena or something like that. And hopefully the funds can go in that direction to accelerate that sort of stuff. Um, a cool thing we have is, I'm going to shout out to Bullionix, which is a product of DGX. They have gold-backed tokens and gold-backed NFTs.
Right.
And the concept might be a little bit complicated to understand, but basically, you can make an NFT and use a certain amount of DGX coins, and one DGX is like equivalent to 1 gram of gold. So if I make an NFT cup, a golden cup, and I pay one DGX for it, then whoever owns that cup. Say someone wins a soccer tournament, and then I transfer the cup to the ownership team. That tournament has its base value, which is the 1 DGX. It can always melt it to get that back, and it also has the value it has on the market, right? Of this being the cup that was the first of the soccer tournament. So we're going to be using and hopefully integrating them a lot more with the games that we're doing, because it just makes sense to give gold back medals and gold back cups
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. That'll be
You
exciting
know,
to
I'm
see.
I'm big on gaming as well, and I think we have the MetaZone guys that are really big on gaming. So we definitely need to go in that direction. The only issue is that to build a game, you need to be a dev or a coder or something to work it out. So
Yeah.
I think that's the only limitation.
Yeah, which is a big limitation, but once we do have, the companies coming in and able to fund some of that stuff, it'd even be quite cool to just be next to the land around that would become so much more valuable, and you could build your
Oh yeah,
gallery or your whatever you want.
for sure.
So,
So that's what I'm realizing. I'm not sure if Crypto Voxels has kind of gone this way as well, because this is a new thing for us in Decentraland, where we're starting to see this much creative content, in the sense that, especially where all these art galleries are located, I'm sure, like, if you want to be an artist, you'd want to be located right near them, right? So once these areas start to deploy cool games, and say, for example, someone like Sony get involved, or Atari, then surely the value of the land around them is going to go up in value. So it's kind of interesting, because even though you may be on the far outskirts, you might, who knows, someone might open up shop next to you, and you could get a bit of that, um, get a piece of that pie.
no, that's very true. I'd love to chat with you about where you see. Um, I was just reading some of the chat about NFT NYC. You haven't been to either of the NFT NYCs, have you, Matty? I don't think I
No,
remember seeing you there. No,
is
it's
that
a
the
it's a
like?
far flight for you. That's a
Is it?
commit. That's a commitment. It's the one in New York.
All right, yeah.
So yeah, that would
Probably
be
won't
it.
be.
You'd be jet lagged for the conference for sure.
I
But
don't really, yeah, I haven't done many meetups. I just kind of have been stuck in my little Twitter bubble.
yeah, yeah, it's kind of fun to get to the meetups and get to see people. But um, I'd love to know what you think about and what you hope to see with different VR communities in the crypto space coming together, and how you think that could happen.
Mhm. Um, I haven't really thought about it much, to be honest, in the sense that we've just had so many challenges with Decentraland alone. Trying to connect with other communities, it's fun, but there's so much priority in just stabilizing the platform. Like, there's so
Hmm.
much priority in just being able to build our own community, so that the people that are part of our own platform can jump in when they want to, and not be faced with like a stuck video screen, or go into a game that they like and not have these issues that we're kind of ironing out.
Sure.
But I think, yeah, you're right. There's definitely a lot of space in interconnecting the communities, and that has to be looked at, and a way to do it. And I think over the last 1 or 2 months, my realization was that the network effect of partnering up with or co-hosting events with someone, is just so much greater than going at it alone. And CV community and Decentraland, they both exist, and I think the majority of them are actually separate people. Like, I go to the
They
Crypto
are,
Voxel, I
which is
see.
what, yeah. They are pretty separate, which is why I wondered like what can we do to kind of like bridge that. But people that I see in Decentraland, like a lot of them, if I maybe I've seen them at a previous DCL meetup, but I don't see them at all in crypto voxels or vice
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
versa.
It's really interesting. And I think a part of that's got to do with the fact that, because you have financially invested in these projects, that's what you involve your effort and time into growing. And me personally, I've been living in my Decentraland bubble for about a year, until I got opened up to other projects around me, and I was like, Maddie, what are you doing? Like, let's kind of look at all this other stuff around you. But yeah, I think what we can do, and hopefully we can integrate this somehow, is kind of give value to the tokens in each project. So I think, if you're a Crypto Voxels investor, you have a Crypto Voxels land, it's an NFT token, it works in Crypto Voxels. Why not make it compatible with Decentraland? Why not have like a Decentraland Crypto Voxels district that maybe mirrors the Crypto Voxels stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Um, Somehow integrates them. I saw a tweet by, I think it was Ben himself, on Crypto Voxels, who said like a shared chat between the two worlds. Things like that, they don't have to be too big. I think even simple things like that is a big deal. In my head, it came up the other day. I don't even know if this is possible, but if you're in like a meetup in Decentraland, maybe there'd be a way to kind of look to the right or the left and just see like a mirror where you see all the CryptoVoxels crowd in CryptoVoxels, or something like a camera or a
Yeah,
video screen or something, and a way to communicate in between.
that'd be
Um,
really cool. Or like a
and I,
portal where you could walk in between.
yeah, even that would be amazing. So you could see them, and if you just walk from one to the other, it would load in Decentraland, but kind of take you to CryptoVoxels, and vice versa. I'm sure Jin's working on this for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Jin making his field trips more compact, just
Yeah,
hub
yeah.
to hub to hub. That'd be awesome.
If you think about it, we're only a tab away. You just have to open a new tab and type in a new link. But even that, because you have to load in every time,
Yeah,
people are just simple creatures. I think they just want to have things a very simple way. I'm
yeah.
like that. I'm very short with my attention. So, for me, if I just walk from one place to the other, I can be in CryptoVoxels. That's the solution.
Right.
Um,
And also, I mean, I just saw someone mention Sugar Club in the comments. Places like Sugar Club that have presence in both worlds and have, you know, people might get introduced to them um, at in a CryptoVoxels meetup, and then they hear Sugar Club promoting a Decentraland meetup, and then they're like, oh, wait, I want to go over there because Sugar
mm,
Club is awesome. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, the event hopping thing is or the world hopping events. They're pretty cool. I think Jin organized some of them, but yeah, definitely do open up the doors in that realm. But I think if we can get to a stage where I can be in Decentraland and wave, and then someone in CryptoVoxels can see me from CryptoVoxels, and I can see what he's
Yeah.
talking about, and he can see what I'm talking about, like that would be awesome. Because I think people in Decentraland, they're familiar with Decentraland. Maybe they want to stay in Decentraland, and that's completely fine. Why do we want to take them to CryptoVoxels or have people in CryptoVoxels to come to Decentraland, right? Like, that's great if that could happen. But maybe even if just communicating and seeing each other, if that's possible, then we can exist and give value to both worlds, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Something I really would love to see, and then I actually want to ask some of the Twitter questions that came in for you. And if you
yeah.
guys have questions in the chat, make sure to ask them. But something I would, and this is just kind of like the biggest item on my wish list personally, and I know some other people that would be interested in it. But in my opinion, and from what I've seen within the world, and I'm no expert, I'm just a community member, but if there was a way to make, even if it was cumbersome to start with, but if there was a way that wearables could be interoperable within worlds, I seriously think that would be a game changer. If I
Mm,
can sell a Josie gas mask and I've in the back end created it in voxel form and created it compatible for a DCL wearable, and when I sell that NFT, they get to own both of those, or like whether it's just bundled or whatever it is, but they get to own one wearable that they can see in every world that they participate in. I think that would be huge, like being able to keep your identity within all of these worlds. Like I don't like for those of you in the chat that saw um the the chat with Coindesk that we did in VR, and I was wearing I had my CryptoVoxels avatar and I had my CryptoVoxels
okay.
gas mask in VR chat. So
Nice.
people like knew it was me. Um, I would
Wow.
love to see that sort of thing happen within the worlds. Like I seriously think that would just like change everything. And then imagine even being able to bring your, when CryptoKitties has pets in these worlds, being able to bring your pet across worlds. That to me would just be
Yeah.
huge. I think that would be like insane.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. I think that's definitely how we should aim to do things. I think in the short term, like for me, I kind of see Decentraland this year in just rolling out the base features, roll out a way to make wearables, roll out a way to vote, roll out a stable platform. And the next year, and hopefully the years to follow, we should be optimizing and fine tuning how to collaborate with different communities and make the most use of our neighbors, really.
yeah,
Hopefully, conversation that we're all aware of, and I'll definitely be pushing that. That's really cool. Cool thing.
awesome. Okay, let me ask you some questions that came in on Twitter. Andrew Steinwald asked, he said, well, Matty, you're a legend, so I don't want to leave that part out. How many months or years will it take for the NFT ecosystem to hit 1 million active users? That's
I
a
want to say
lot.
Andrew's
That's a
as well.
big number.
Oh yeah, a million users, a million active users is a
Active.
freaking big number. I think at the moment we're like, I think we're only like a couple of thousand, right? I wouldn't
Probably like
imagine the NFT.
five. What, the NFT space?
Yeah, active users,
Active,
active.
probably like 5,000. If
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, not it's not
under
big.
that. It
Yeah.
wouldn't be big at all. Yeah.
Because I think there are
Um.
maybe how many wallets are on OpenSea? Under 20,000. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it's like 18,000
All up.
unique wallets on OpenSea.
Ah, right.
I
Okay.
think.
Well,
But
I think
imagine
to.
those are like alts and stuff. But anyways.
All right. Yeah, it's you know, there's so many hurdles we have to kind of get through as a space. Just the onboarding is such an issue, getting through MetaMask and getting Ethereum. And if you want someone outside of this space to understand, it's only just the crypto space that can understand, or try and at least have a starting point to understand how the NFT space works, right? Our neighbors actually, I did a little image the other day. I'm not sure if you saw it, but it was like comparing circles, and it was the size of. Did you see that? It was the
No, I
size of
didn't.
like. Oh, you haven't seen it.
Sorry.
How do I?
It's
Maybe I
on
can.
Twitter?
It was on Twitter. Hold up. I will totally pull that up. I really want to show it to you guys.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't set this up for screen sharing, so
Oh,
that might.
you didn't. Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Sorry.
That's all good.
I'll find it and I'll link it in the chat for everyone.
Yeah, it's somewhere there. Okay, wait. Let me get my Zoom screen back on.
Just tell me what
Anyway,
or when did you tweet it? I'll find it.
oh, can you share your screen?
I don't want to risk it
Oh,
because
oh
it's
yeah.
weird with
That's all
OBS.
good.
With Zoom, I'm using Zoom specifically. It has this weird bug that when if I don't set it up in a weird like share my whole browser way, it
Mhm.
takes our images off completely and the screen just goes white and then I'll have to like stop the stream.
Right,
Sorry,
right, right.
it's a
Yeah,
weird
no, it's
thing,
not
but
that.
we'll find it and I'll link it.
So I think I'm looking at it right now. But basically, I compared the circles of like the NFT market cap, which is about 200 to 300 million, and I compared that to the Ethereum market cap, market cap, which was 24 billion, and it was like so the Ethereum market cap is 120 times the NFT market cap, right?
Sure.
And the BTC market cap is 910 times the size of the NFT market cap, almost 1,000.
Oh
And then
wow.
the cryptocurrency space as a whole is 1,300 times the size of the NFT space of the total market cap. So this is Decentraland and CryptoVoxel, the Somnium space, and all the art and everything compiled into one market cap.
Hmm.
Um, so we have so much space to expand just to our own neighbors like crypto and BTC. I think we have to just kind of fine tune things so it's easy for them to onboard. So what are they used to? They used to, and I really don't want to say this, but they're used to centralized exchanges. The reason why Bitcoin hit 10,000 USD and the reason why we have thousands of people that have, millions of people that have invested in Bitcoin is because they can just sign up using their username and password
Yeah.
and buy Bitcoin, right? That's
Yeah.
how I can get
Absolutely.
my mom to buy Bitcoin. I'm not gonna like she wouldn't have ever bought it if I had to tell her to buy or download a wallet and manage her security. And I was like, Mom, don't lose this code. If you lose this code, you lose everything. No way are they gonna do that.
Yeah.
Um, and I think so. The NFT space has to have these sort of solutions, whether it's a centralized exchange or something to make it so much more easier to invest. And that's just that part. The educational part of the NFT space is just so big. Each project is different. You can't just buy an NFT as easily as you can join a exchange and buy like 20 coins within half an hour. You can throw
Yeah.
your money at coins and you have these in your possession. To buy an NFT, you really have to know what the hell you're doing, right? You have to research about the project. You have to know what your particular NFT does, why it's different to others. You have to base your own valuation metrics to it. There's no real data on this on a mass scale. Yes, there is previous sales, but there's no comparative data to see what you're buying and how it compares with the rest of the NFTs. And so there's so many tools and things that need to be done. I think if we were to get to a million person cap, active users, I really think it's going to take some time. I think either it's going to be a catalyst, which are a large game project like I don't know, Pokemon releases NFT backed cards or something like that could do it, or a massive bull run in the BTC space that takes us to 100,000 USD for Bitcoin or something crazy, which brings a flood of people in this space, and hopefully our little NFT world can get a bit of that spotlight. if some catalyst like that could happen, if that happens, maybe a few years, but I do think it's going to take some time. I think we're so early in this tech. We're way too forward with the NFT space. But the good thing is our neighbors alone, like Ethereum and Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, that like those neighbors that understand blockchain to even a little level, there's like just expanding to them is a big deal. And we all talk about mass adoption, but even if we were to just ripple out to the majority Ethereum people, like we'd be fine. If we could just double into space, like that's enough momentum to have enough YouTubers and bloggers pushing this further.
And what do you think? That's super interesting, and I thought you had a great answer. But it's interesting because I feel like since I've been in the NFT space, I don't really know if, of course, I meet new people all the time, but I don't really know if the main characters that have stuck around have really changed or grown all that much. Like, I really, or at least, sure, it has. I don't want to say that it hasn't grown. It has, but I feel like it's been at a pretty slow rate. Would you like? I feel like the whales are the same whales, and maybe there are a few new ones popping up. Um, but I would expect that when the community gets larger and larger and larger, there's sort of like, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like it hasn't grown in the way that I thought it would.
Yeah.
Do
It's
you
been
feel that way?
stable. I kind of did for the first 2 years of my blogging and stuff. I was like, man, I see people getting into Decentraland, they just flip something and run off.
Yeah.
Or someone just comes in and I see, the same amount of momentum. Yeah, my Twitter followers and YouTube followers are growing gradually. But I think a lot to do with it was the fact that crypto in general was on a decline over the last 2 to 3 years. So at the same time, we were trying to grow our space. There were people leaving the space just because they were running out of money and then needed to withdraw their money and move on, really.
Yeah.
So we're kind of, at the mercy of the bear market for the last 2 to 3 years. So I think, in a way, we've done pretty well to survive and grow and just exist, really. But over the last 3 months, I've been seeing a lot of momentum, not through my YouTube followers or Twitter followers, just people willing to work together. I'm seeing some of our tweets, whether it be Crypto Voxels or Decentraland, they're reaching numbers of like 100 likes, 200 likes. They're getting shared around the board just for, a video of, SpaceX or something like that.
Right.
So I'm seeing that it is the content that's the key here. The content and like the complexity of the content and the wow factor of the content. And this is one of the reasons why I invested in Decentraland. I didn't really know about CryptoVoxels, but then so I invested in Decentraland because it was a project that was just sexy on social, right? It just looked good on social. So once it went live, people put on their VR headsets and showed what they were doing and building in Decentraland. My thing was, all right, I'm going to flip land until I have a ton of mana. And once that sort of activity starts, that's going to be the time I'm going to cash out a bit. And it's kind of coming true in the sense that people are starting to, that is what's bringing in people, the stuff that people are building. And that's what's growing the platform. So I think we're on the right track. Decentraland isn't VR yet, but we definitely have plans to do that, hopefully next year sometime or the end of this year. But once we start to do that, and then
that would be
the
exciting.
Yeah, nothing concrete at the moment. Just I know that it's a conversation that they have, but obviously the platform needs to stabilize. We need to get better than 40-second load time.
Right.
We can't have VR with people loading in with their headsets on. Like that's a pretty crappy experience.
Sure.
So,
no, those are all good points. Anorak asked on Twitter, as someone that has been an inspiration to so many beginners in the NFT space, which I'll echo that because a lot of people earlier in the chat said that you got them interested in DCL. Who was the person you looked up to when entering the NFT community?
All right. Back then, I don't think there were many people doing much. In fact, I didn't even know what an NFT was. I was just buying instantly land for all I knew for like a good year or something. And I was just blogging in my little flip land bubble for like a year. That's all I was doing. I don't know if you saw my stuff. All of it was just market analysis videos. It was like, oh my God, I'll flip this for 10K. Oh my God, I'll flip this for this much. But like, I think back then there wasn't many people talking about the NFT space as a whole, but then I started to see Andrew's stuff and a couple of others that were talking more about the space as a whole. like a more broader sense what art might mean in the NFT space for these virtual worlds, what CryptoPunks did at the start and how they pioneered the way for this in this direction. And then Gods Unchained, that came up, and then I was really involved in looking at that, and that was really exciting to be part of. And in terms of people, I can't recall people in the early days when I got involved, but like definitely now, like Andrew Stonewall, like watching his stuff and his in-depth analysis, the non-fungible guys, the non-fungible guys,
Yep.
yourself, Josie, I love your streams and I love this stuff. Like this has been really cool to join and have like 30, 40 people of the same kind of mindset talking about this, and you being so diligent with pumping these out. That's
Thanks.
inspirational. It's pushed me to be a little bit more creative with my videos, and I'm working on my thumbnails a bit better and kind of taking my stuff to the next level. So I think it's really good because we're kind of bouncing off what each of us are doing and what's working, and collaborating in this sense. So now there's a lot more inspirations, but back when I started, I can't think of anyone in that first year or so.
Yeah, I will say when I was thinking of Decentraland, when I first was learning about it, you're the first name that I would think of. You were really like the only like community member that I knew. And then once I started talking in the chat, quickly I got to know who Toon Punk was, and then also Carl, because I feel like Carl was everywhere. Because I was like looking in all of the uh, um, sorry, I just lost the word. The communities. What are they all? The districts. I was looking at all of the districts, and like he was like the district leader of so many. And I was like, what do I need to do to be a part of this? So I feel like
Carl probably works harder than me times 10. He just
shout
doesn't
out
have
to
social.
Carl. Yeah.
Shout out to Carl, and the members that do a lot of work but behind the scenes, that the stuff that we're seeing in Art Week, a lot of that's designed by Shibu, which
Mm-hmm.
is one of the Decentraland leads, and TAC, not Decentraland leads, sorry, one of the art leads, and
Yeah.
a lot of these
Shuba
people in
makes
the
really
background.
cool wearables.
Yeah, we've got something in store for that. So we're having a soccer tournament. It's like a 24 team projects, 24 collaborative projects that are going to be battling it out for a 5 versus 5 soccer thing. So we've got a proper game in Decentraland. It's going to be a proper soccer game, 5 versus
That's
5.
awesome.
And Shibu's designing custom uniforms for each, wearable uniforms for each members of the 5, for every single project, for each 24 of them. And I've seen some of them and they're like out of this world. I'm just waiting for the trailer to drop. It should have been dropped a couple of days ago and I'm dying for it to drop. But I think you're going to see some seriously beautiful designed like stuff. And
That's
and
awesome.
Ben's he's like an awesome game designer. You're going to see he's the one behind the soccer stadium, and what you're going to see. There's so many people in the behind the scenes. I think we kind of get seen as the people that drive these projects in the front lines, but behind the scenes there's so many.
Yeah. No, so many talented people. I agree. Um, oh, DCL Interact said, I used to think Matty and DCL Plazas were the same person for the longest time. Maybe
Oh, right.
all of
Oh, Chris.
2018.
Sorry. I have to say, Chris, Riorio or DCL Plazas was my inspiration. Was an inspiration because
Oh,
he had a. I'm sorry, I totally forgot about that. But shout out to him. He had the first kind of news site in Decentraland, and I think he had like 1,000 followers or something. I was like, oh, it's pretty good. 1,000 followers in the space which I didn't think was. I didn't think a community member would have that much followers. And I was checking out his stuff, and he was blogging for a while about Decentraland. And I was like, oh, that's really cool, like I don't think I made my blog because of him. I remember making my blog just because I like to flip land, but I remember seeing him do it as well. And I was like, oh, there's another blogger or someone else making content about Decentraland. So
that's
me and
awesome.
him have been in touch for a long while, and he's a really good friend, and we always talk about Decentraland. So
Yeah, and he's
shout
been
out.
doing some really cool, like, the kiosks and all that stuff. That's with DCL
Yeah.
Plazas, right?
Mm-hmm.
They put up an awesome, like, group of kiosks with so many different artists. It was really cool to see.
Yeah,
Um,
he was the first one in Decentraland to reach out to so many
yeah,
artists and get them involved, I think. So
yeah.
shout out to him.
I think, I don't know if they, I'm trying to think, or no, maybe it was Decentral Games. I was gonna say I thought that they owned a Tune In, but I actually think it was someone else. That was part of DCL. Okay, so Clark Kent asked, how do you think the ability to view crypto art in a metaverse like Decentraland and eventually in VR will impact its desirability? I personally think it's a game changer.
I do think it's a game changer. I think people can sustain and have value for their art in just the virtual world alone. There's people. and this is an interesting, I think I was talking to Drew from Meta Factory about this, was he's got like a clothing line that he wants to sell in the real world and kind of, you know, have it connected to the virtual world. So you're walking in with a wearable in the real world and the virtual world when you buy it. And I was thinking, I was like, man, the virtual item might be worth more or more pricier than the real world item. It could
Yeah,
be the same with art, right?
that's often how it works.
Yeah. So the decent, like if you, I'm seeing, and I'm always blown away by how much of this art sells, and you know, people like yourself and other people in this space that have made art and really have a brand and a following and a story. Their art seems to really resonate with some people, and I'm not. I I I can and I can't see the value behind art. Like, valuating art is not my thing. I don't know why doesn't click in my head. I know Whale Shark's big at it and he does a lot of art stuff, but for me, I really struggle to find the value in investing in art. It looked beautiful to me, but I didn't understand the investment process. But I'm just watching it, and I'm realizing that it is the artists, it is the builders, and those creative minds that are going to build out these worlds. It's not going to be me. It's not going to be some of the people that build out maybe a shoebox and like a meeting area. It's going to be people that take these places to a mysterious level that you're not going to see in the real world. That's going to warrant someone to click in Decentraland or CryptoBox and be like, what the heck is that? And click into it and open up to this whole beautiful place that the artists really build. So I'm really realizing that they are probably the most integral part of the community.
Absolutely. Jason Bailey, I think, said it once or wrote it once, and I read it. I don't remember, but he said artists are the new influencers, which is like 100% in my opinion how I've been seeing it so far. And even people who don't even know they're artists yet, but then they make really awesome builds and people consider them artists, and they are artists for doing all of those amazing things. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's an interesting world
I'm
for
really happy.
creatives.
Yeah, I'm really happy that community is developing, because I know that for the creative minded people, it might be lonely sometimes. I have some friends that are maybe artists, and you know, they don't see so much traction in the real world. The real world is kind of ugly in that sense, that it just really values, you know, what makes money back. But in this community of ours, you can go to Discord channels, you can make a name for yourself. In Twitter, you can collab with people, you can have your art showcased virtually, and you can have this real good backing virtually.
Yeah.
And that's a really cool thing.
Yeah. I think maybe you answered this a little bit, but Brookhawk asked Maddie, have you collected or flipped art? Which it doesn't sound like you have.
No, no, no. I would have no idea where to start. I'd probably just collect it and put it in my, um, you know, this was a really interesting topic. It's going to open up a whole new can of worms. But I was kind of investigating the whole, like, do whales ruin the NFT space? And you know, there's different types of collectors. There's people that want to hold on to something for a long period of time, and if you do that with digital land, you're probably putting a hole in the world. Like, you're probably doing more damage than you are. But with art, you can do that, right? Like, I think it's designed to kind of buy and sit on it, and then value it and be happy that you own it, and then sell at some point if you want to, or you can just sit on it for a while.
Yeah.
So I personally haven't flipped art. I don't think I will. I think I'll just appreciate it and maybe just post it somewhere.
All right. We'll see. Next year, when all you're making videos on is flipping art, we'll come back to this little snippet. I never think I'll flip art.
Guilty.
Um, DCL Interact said, Maddie, what was your wife's initial reaction when you told her you spent thousands of dollars on virtual land? Follow up, have you ever told her? Haha.
She's always amazed. You know what the funny thing, funny, kind of sad, but the interesting thing was, before COVID, all the stuff that I do, and I'd be like, babe, you know, like, I'm flipping this land, it's virtual land, and she's like, what the hell is virtual land? I've been telling her for a year, and you know, I'm like, I was actually playing Axie Infinity, and in fact, before virtual land, the first thing I flipped was actually Ethereum on. So it was like a little panda.
Yeah.
I bought this panda. This sounds so stupid,
Let's hear
but
it.
there was a panda that you could buy. I forgot the name of the panda. It was like a green panda. What was it? I'm sure it wasn't something simple like Pandamon. But anyway, it was a panda that you could buy, and I bought it for 1.5 Ethereum, and the seller didn't realize that it came with an egg, and that egg, if it hatches, gives me another panda for another 1.5 Ethereum. So I bought it, I flipped it, and I made three Ethereum, and I was so excited. I told my wife, and I was like, babe, I bought this virtual panda. Like, it was the stupidest story, right?
That's
So she was
awesome.
like, I just remember being at home and being like, babe, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna be a full-time NFT trader. I'm gonna be buying and selling this stuff. And she would just look at it and be like, what are you doing? Can you like go get a job or do something of more value? Like, she did not get it. And I totally understand she didn't get it. And then hopefully Decentraland came about when I showed her the money that was involved. And she still was kind of on the back foot a little bit. She's been very supportive, and I thank you to my wife for, I have to say this because she told me to mention it yesterday. She told me to mention it yesterday on Twitter, but I'll mention it here. But it was because of her I got started on Twitter, and
Oh,
it's because of her I got started on Zoom. Oh no, not Zoom, something else, or LinkedIn. But Twitter was all her doing. She was, I was bearish on Twitter for ages until she was like, "Why don't you have Twitter? You need to start Twitter."
that's
And
really
that's like my
funny.
100% focus now.
That's
But
awesome.
yeah, now she's more receptive to it, especially after COVID, because during COVID, everyone was locked down and all the crazy shit I used to tell her before, in the sense that, I don't know if I can swear here, I'm sorry.
Oh, you can
But
swear. It's fine.
Twitch, I hope they don't shut us
I
down or something.
I swear all the time. It's fine. Go ahead.
No, so before that, I used to be like, babe, this world's gonna crash, this fiat stuff sucks, like it's got unlimited. Who do you think pays for the bailouts when these companies do crap? And then, Bitcoin's a solution, this NFT market's gonna be big, you have complete ownership of it. And she used to think I was crazy. And then COVID hit, everyone got stuck at home, everyone started to look for virtual solutions, and she was like, oh, what you're doing online, all these virtual conferences, she started to see value in it because
Yeah.
there were the solutions. She works in government, so she would be asked to find solutions for, how do we get people to hire people virtually, or how do we, there was like some solutions, and I'd be like, no, why don't we pitch them Decentraland, or why don't we do this or that? And she'd find value in that. And now she's a lot more receptive, and she kind of tells everyone, like Matty knew from day one what's going to happen.
That's
So
awesome.
now she's a lot more receptive, and the whole digital land thing, she's all cool with it.
That's funny. There's also, it reminds me, I think Steve, Crypto Steve, his wife actually got him into Twitter too. She was like, just
That's
make a
the one.
Twitter. Yeah, yeah. She's like, just make a Twitter to show all of your, because he brings his Bitcoin flag everywhere and has like
Yeah,
people hold it. She's like, just
interesting.
make a Twitter for that. And then he finally did it. So
Yeah,
wives getting their husbands into Twitter.
it's
Um,
actually really cool. I didn't know that, especially with the NFT space. I feel like they all exist either on Discord or Twitter.
yeah.
That's
Oh
where they
yeah.
are.
100%.
Especially Twitter. I mean, like anyone can come into Decentraland, make something beautiful, and start to get a bunch of different people to follow them. I'm sure they can do the same with crypto voxels if they start to share what they've made, um, and start to host meetups and things like that. And I kind of think it's a really cool thing that we have that
Yeah.
sense. Twitter is just the perfect medium for it.
I completely agree. We had another question come in. Oh, one
Yeah.
comment too. Matty start collecting with the Josie art piece. And then Brocock asked, "You're liking Axie more now. Do you regret selling your Axie land?"
Ooh, good question. I actually sold. So for Axie Infinity, when they had the land auction, I was like one of the first people to participate, or like in that group of people that bought the land. And it was really rare to have 100 pieces of land joined up, because
Mm-hmm.
100 were the max pieces you could buy. And there's only like maybe 6 or 7 100-piece lands you could buy, right? Because you'd put 100 in the number thing and you'd press buy, and if there was an available slot for 100 as a chunk, then you'd get that. If there
Mm,
wasn't, you'd get like 100 spread out pieces.
sure.
So I was very lucky. My transaction went through, and I got 100 pieces.
Wow.
And I held onto that for a while. I bought it for 5 Ethereum, and I kind of sold it for, I think, 10, maybe 11 Ethereum. I'm not sure. Um,
And what's it
I,
worth
I
today?
I think it'd be worth the same. I think maybe
Okay.
15 Ethereum, maybe, um, if we're lucky, maybe like 13, 15 Ethereum. But it's still a very valuable piece of land. My thing with Axie, I love the game. I kind of had to delete the game because I got too addicted to it, and that's what I do when I get too addicted to
I know
games
that
and
how
things.
goes. I do the same thing.
Yeah, but I'm a big proponent of Axie. I think they've got the whole blockchain gaming thing figured out. They've got the PvP method figured out. They've got the investment model figured out. You don't have to invest in, even if you get a cheap Axie, it's still very competitive. You can still win tournaments and things. You don't need like a high priced one. I really think they've got a lot of working parts to their model. Um, I kind of do regret it a little bit, but I don't know.
You don't want
I'm
to
happy
talk
to join
about
the
it.
team. No, no, no. it hurts my soul.
Yeah.
Nah,
Um,
it's fine. Like I would happily buy again once they release the land um, playability. I know that's what I'm waiting for. So
they recently, I mean, I don't know a lot about Axies, but they recently had some big news with their land, right?
mhm. Yeah, they showed some pictures of what it's gonna be like, and it looked really really cool. It reminded me of Pokemon, and I
Okay,
love Pokemon.
got it.
Um, yeah, I think they're gonna do awesome. They've always been like almost number one in terms of just the visuals and how beautiful their stuff looks. So I'm sure they're not gonna underdeliver there.
Got it. Um, Hargel or Hargel? Sorry, I don't know how to say your name. 11. I have 10 and thought I had too many. Clearly not. We're gonna need you to collect 100 adjacent.
Yeah,
Um, Easy. I would like to get a little Axie plot. Miss the first round. Oh, cool. And someone's
they've got.
selling some of their lands. You guys better make a deal right in the chat here.
There we go. Let's make
Um,
history.
yeah, if you guys have any more questions for Maddie, please feel free and ask them. We'll start wrapping up soon. Maddie, while we're seeing if anyone else has more questions, at the end I do a rapid fire questions. But then also before that, is there anything that you want to talk about? If you have anything exciting coming up, or that you want to share about what's going on with you?
Um, Nothing specific. I mean, the Decentraland soccer tournament's going to be pretty epic.
When is that?
I think so. So that's going to be July 3rd, which is about a week and a half away. But I think it might run for a span of 2 weeks because we're going to have like multiple games every day.
Okay.
I'm a bit freaked out and anxious about the performance. I hope it's stable enough so that people can go in and have some sort of a decent game and at least view it, and people come out of that with a good experience. We have about 24 companies that are lined up, so we have projects involved that are playing the game. I think that's very exciting because it's going to showcase that some sort of physics gameplay is possible, and hopefully if we can fine tune this, then we can maybe make a yearly soccer match game thing with a cup, or maybe even maybe a yearly Olympics tournament, maybe even
That
cross
would be
metaverse.
awesome. Yeah,
Crypto Voxel
Ben is
games.
playing in it, right? Because I think I first heard of it on the stream I did with him. Is Ben playing in it?
Oh, Ben, no, he's not. I'm trying to get in
Oh.
touch with Ben. Ben's just been too hard to get in touch with. Guy's too busy.
Oh, who was it then? I swore I thought it was him who mentioned it on the stream. Maybe it was someone mentioned on the stream that they were playing in the soccer tournament and needed people, but maybe it wasn't him. Oh,
No, I'm not.
Steve. Steve?
Maybe
No.
Steve.
Steve was my very first episode, so that would have been too long ago.
Oh, could be.
I
Oh,
don't
right,
know.
right.
Any Oh, Matthew. Duh, thank you.
From Sense.
Wow. You guys, easy, thank you. And Mr. NFT for helping me get there. Matthew from Scent. He mentioned it. You're
Oh,
right.
yeah, yeah, they're in it.
Anyway, sorry.
So, yeah, I'm excited about
That'll be
that.
fun.
It should be a lot of fun. It might be a bit choppy and it's going to be a hot mess, but I think you guys in CryptoVox is probably trying to do the same thing. You're trying to push the platform to its limits and then
Yeah.
and,
Break it
and look,
and then see what
yeah, break.
happens.
Yeah.
it's
I'm
it
glad
Go ahead.
I'm glad we kind of had that mentality because there's other projects that kind of stay silent for a while. They're too scared to do anything, but we're just like, let's go big and let's go as hard as we can and see what the hell happens.
Yeah, and
It's
I mean, of course you're gonna have some of the people that are like, that sucked. Like I wasn't able to do this and that. It wasn't perfect. But at the end of the day, they're gonna have that memory that they were able to do it, and like memories are always
yeah,
fonder as you take time. So
yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
next time around when they do it, like it'll improve. And hey, that's the only way we can
Exactly. These
get
platforms
better.
are exactly what you said. Like the platforms are going to get smoother and better and more fluid, and you're gonna see Decentraland again. If you have a crappy experience with both CryptoVoxels or Decentraland, well, you're gonna see it again. Like once it's doing better. Like I saw CryptoVoxels when it was just a white canvas, and now when I see it, I'm just blown away every time. When
Yeah.
I see, I'm like, I didn't even know that was possible in
Yeah.
CryptoVoxels.
And even, I mean, I've seen people that came over from like the CryptoPunks collecting space, and they came over and they're like, oh, I saw CV before and I hate it was hideous. Like, and they still might think it's hideous, but they definitely regret not buying parcels at point 0.3 ETH.
Oh
You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Oh my
So
God.
there's
Your
benefit to
parcel
sticking it
values have gone
through.
nuts.
Yeah, there's benefit to sticking it out. Um, okay, just one more question, and then I will do the rapid fire questions. Samsonite asked, uh, Oh yeah, they used to cost zero point 0.3 ETH. It was crazy. Samson, I asked, I'd like to make a request. Matty continues making epic educational NFT videos. I love the way you explain things so simply, and I think you have a nice voice to listen to. Sometimes I fall asleep listening to your videos. Oh, that's not a question, but that's awesome.
Thanks,
That's
man.
really
I'll,
cool.
I'll try my best. I actually don't listen. I don't re-listen to my videos because I
Me
cringe
neither.
too hard.
Yeah, same. I would never
My wife
re-listen to
sometimes
these
pulls them
streams.
up and she just looks at me and I'm like, no, turn it off, turn it off.
Yeah, no,
Can't do it.
same here. Um,
Yeah.
awesome, cool. Those were really awesome questions, guys. I'm gonna do the rapid fire questions. Just pulling them
Ooh.
up really quick. They're easy. Except, I made a mistake. Well, I'll get to it when I get to that question. Okay, Bitcoin or Ethereum?
Ethereum.
Okay, send me all your Bitcoin. No, just kidding. Go back 1 year or forward 1 year?
Oh my God, these questions. I'd say forward 1 year. More curious than regretful.
Yeah, everyone, most people say forward. Rare, I think one person so far has said back. Um, last NFT or physical art piece that you purchased, so it'll be an NFT for you.
Yeah.
Which one?
Which did I
What
purchase?
What was your last NFT that you purchased?
I can't remember. Probably a piece of Decentraland land or a wearable or something.
Okay. Are you a morning person or a night owl?
I used to be a morning person. Now I don't even know what the hell I am. I just wake up in the middle of the night, check my phone, or sometimes wake up at 11 a.m. and then sleep at 2 a.m. Sometimes, I don't know. I used to be really good. I used to wake up at 4 a.m., go for a jog, eat
That's
healthy and sleep early. I used to be so good. But then after with Decentraland and now networking is really just talking on the phone
yeah.
and Discord chats and stuff. That's my activity now. It's rarely just blog posting, and if it is, like that can be done at any time. It's just gone out the window. I honestly don't know, but I would say morning person. I know the values in the morning.
Yeah. Wow. 4 a.m. I could. So like sometimes I go to sleep at 4 a.m. I would never wake up at 4 a.m. Um, cats or dogs?
I have a cat right now, so I'll say cat.
Okay. What's its name?
Millie.
Millie. Oh, that's cute. Decentraland, Cryptovoxels, or Somnium?
It's a tough choice. I'll have to say decentral.
Okay, now if Decentraland wasn't an option, Cryptovoxels or Somnium?
It's a tough one. It's a really tough one. I'd say, oh my God, I'd say CryptoVoxels because I've worked with them the most, but I know a lot of Somnium space guys and the VR stuff they're doing is really cool. So I hate
Yeah.
the one, but I'd say CryptoVoxels.
No, I agree that I think the stuff going on in Somnium is really cool, but I haven't been able to personally go to the events yet. So I need to do some more exploring over there for sure.
Do you have a VR
Um,
headset?
yeah, I do.
Okay. Do you have the Quest?
Yeah,
Is it good?
I love it.
Do you recommend?
Totally. I
Okay.
100% recommend. Um, window or aisle seat?
Window.
Window.
It's a random question.
I know. That was a lot of these are random. Someone in the past or present in crypto you'd like to meet.
Um, Past or present? Oh man, probably everyone that I've talked to. I talked to Jason, who is works with Steve Wand.
Hmm.
He's behind the digital blue team and he's part of like I think they've recently acquired game credits. He's been a really good dude
Yeah.
all the time. He's spoken to me. So Jason and then the digital blue team in general, apart
Awesome.
from the team and the MetaZone guys, yourself, art community. It's
Yeah.
just a lot of
The MetaZone guys, they've been building out some crazy stuff, and I know the digital guys, and they're all amazing. I've been fortunate to meet. Obviously, I know Steve, and then a couple people working on there, and they're great. Um,
I'm really grateful for the community being very inviting. I think overall with the
yeah.
NFT space, everyone's very encouraging and they're happy to integrate something with someone.
Yeah. Absolutely. Favorite food?
Who asked me this? Someone asked me this. Open NFT asked me this, and I said mincemeat.
Minced
And
meat.
yeah, no, because in India there's like a a dish. It's like a Pakistani Indian dish. It's called keema, and it's like mincemeat, but like curried up. And
Okay.
it just sounded stupid when I said mincemeat.
Do
And
you
he was like,
serve
"What?"
it? Do you serve it with anything in particular?
Yeah, you serve it with you can have it with rice, you can have it with roti, chapati,
Yeah.
um, all that good stuff.
Sounds
But
better when you say it that way. Just minced meat. Um, Texting or calling?
calling all the time. I'd
Same.
rather call someone than email or text. I hate texting.
Same. Oh, I'm with you. Would you want to live forever?
If I had no health issues, yeah.
All right. And then last question. Just describe the NFT space with 3 words.
Inviting potential money.
All
I have
right.
no idea.
I love that one of them is money. We need that from you, the
Yeah,
DCL blogger, land flipper, NFT investor. We need the money.
yeah.
But yeah, no, I
Well,
think it's a this was awesome. Your answers were really good, entertaining ones.
that was fun. I like that.
Yeah, they're some of those questions are just like so random, but that's it. Kind of like helps us get to know you a little bit better, and maybe even judge you on some of your questions. We can know what kind of person you are. See, I already know you waking up at 4 a.m. The only reason why it's acceptable to me is because we're on different time zones, so that's probably good for me for my time zone. But if
Yeah,
you were in the States waking up at 4 a.m., I'd be like, oh no, he's an overachiever.
I only did that for like about a year consistently, but
Okay,
by in like no means am I doing that anymore. I'm waking up at 11 a.m. or 10 a.m. I actually just
that's
rolled out of bed like an hour and a half before this stream.
nice. Even
It's great.
better. Even better. Start your day off. This was awesome. Thank you so much for being on the show, Matty. I will see you. I'm going to come see the soccer event live if possible because that sounds really awesome. And I'll see you around at other events. And thank you, everyone in the stream chat, for being just so awesome per usual. If there's some questions I missed, I'm sorry. I think I got all of them, but definitely feel free and reach out to Matty or myself and just chat with us and ask us. And I hope to see you guys soon. Tomorrow night we have Connie Digital, which he's just a pioneer in like so many different spaces and realms within the NFT world. And then we'll have Jim next week, and then that ends season 1. So thank you all again, and thank you, Matty, for coming on, and we'll see you soon.
You're welcome. Thanks everyone. Thanks Josie.
Bye.